So let's just start in a nice supported bridge pose today. If you do have blocks, you're going to use one of those. You could also grab a book. If you don't have blocks, you might just fold up your mat several times, or you could grab a blanket, slide that underneath you, maybe a firm cushion from the couch. So we're going to come onto our back here. Feet, hips distance apart, edges of the feet are parallel with the edges of the mat. And then you're going to press into your feet and choose the level. So you're not as high as you could go, maybe medium or low. And then you're gonna snuggle your shoulder blades underneath you. Direct your tailbone forward. In fact, you might even lift up and direct your buttocks flesh forward towards your heels. And then arms by your side, palms facing up. Feel those shoulder blades start to get heavy. Take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. Do that a couple more times. So letting the weekend go, the to-do list go, Monday go. It's always hard not to have a case of the Mondays on the Mondays. Just focus on your body. Make sure that you're not gripping or holding anywhere that you don't need to. So there is effort here, but there is also a sense of stretch across your heart and chest, length through the sides of your waist. And if you haven't already, you're going to start to find the rhythm of your Ujjayi breath. So that inhale through your nose and that exhale through your nose. You're going to start to create that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. Sounds like ocean waves rolling in and out. As much as possible, you're trying to keep the length of your inhale and the length of your exhale really nice and even. And we're going to be here for a moment or two, soaking up this quiet. So really setting the tone for the hour ahead, setting the tone for the week ahead, the end of this month, the beginning of a new month. Anytime your attention wanders, you just bring it back to that sound of your breath. It's going to happen. That's fine. If you're really struggling with this today, count the breath. So inhale to the count of 6 or 7 or 8. And then exhale to that same number. The sound of the breath should be audible to you. Good. Take a nice deep inhale. Fill up. Pause at the top. So you're holding the breath in. And then open your mouth. Sigh the breath out. Let it go. Press into your feet. Lift your hips up off the block. And then slowly lower down. Keep directing that tailbone forward. So you start to flatten your spine as you come onto the mat, and then just moving with the breath here. So make sure that the arches in your feet are lifting, they're engaged, toes are spreading. So think Tadasana feet. And then inhale, lift up any amount. We've warmed up the back a little bit. Exhale, lower down. If you'd like to add your arms here, inhale, stretch arms up and overhead. Exhale, lower. See if you can get your sit bones, your hip bones, or hip plates rather, and your pinkies to touch down at the same time. It might take a few rounds of breath to coordinate that. So we're already finding this idea of vinyasa, just setting up this gentle movement in the body. Getting into the shoulder girdle. Notice it all if you're gripping your toes, let them lengthen and then gently release down. Next time hips are up, leave them there. As you exhale, though, release your hands by your side. Grab the outer edges of your mat if you're a little tighter in your shoulders. Otherwise, you can interlace your fingers underneath you. Kind of snuggle those shoulders underneath. So it really feels like those shoulder blades start to press into the mat as though they were feet. Couple more breaths. Keep directing the tailbone forward as you lift these hip bones up towards the ceiling. It might be more of a thought than anything else. Good. As you exhale, slowly release down. Squeeze knees into your chest. You can hold the thighs, gently pull in. You can hold your shins if you're a little more flexible. Maybe rock a little bit from side to side. And then we're going to keep the knees squeezing in. Bring your arms out in a T shape, just a nice little twist to release that. Allow the knees to drop off to the right. You either look straight up at the ceiling or maybe start to gaze out over those left fingertips. Feel shoulder blades heavy. If that left shoulder blade is lifting up off the mat, slide something underneath there just to give yourself a little support. Good. As you inhale, come on up to center with your knees. And then as you exhale, they drop off to the left, looking up at the ceiling, so keeping the neck nice and long. Or if you want to stretch out the left side of your neck and it feels okay to do so, begin to look out over those right fingertips. So shoulder blades are heavy. Breath smooth and steady. As you exhale, you're emptying everything out. Inhale up. Good. Start to roll forward and back if that feels okay. If that doesn't feel very good on your spine, just roll off to one side. And then making your way up to your tabletop position, setting up for some cat-cow. So getting into the spine a little more, tacking it a little different than this bridge pose, however. So find your nice setup, shoulders over wrists, fingers spreading, pressing evenly. Lower belly is pulling in and up. Your knees are underneath your hips, and then you begin to move here. Close your eyes. Inhale, arch into your lumbar as the chest pulls forward through the gates of your shoulders. Exhale, round in, release down. Inhaling, arching. Exhaling, rounding. Continuing like this. Noticing how it feels different. So we've already warmed the spine up a little bit, so that this should feel pretty nice. You're paying attention to your spine. You're noticing those places that feel easy. You're noticing those places that might feel a little more challenging. Couple more rounds. And then inhaling up to neutral spine. So you're neither arching nor rounding here. Keep the belly pulling in and up. Same time today. So we're gonna lift our left fingertips forward and lift our right leg up. So as you inhale, root down into that right palm for stability. Use your belly, lengthen out. So this nice long diagonal stretch. Feel that inner right thigh spiral up towards the ceiling. Notice if you start to dump in your lumbar a lot, pull your belly button towards your ribs. Keeping the neck nice and long so the gaze is slightly forward. As you exhale, release down. Find your setup here. And then as you inhale, left leg lifts, right fingertips stretch forward like you're gonna reach out and shake somebody's hand. Feel the shoulder blades release down your back. Left toes pointing down towards your mat. Breath smooth and steady. Little balance here. When we balance, we start to hold the breath. More important to breathe. Good, as you exhale, release down. We're gonna do that one more time to each side with a little variation. So anchor into that right palm, shoulders over the wrist, belly is pulling in. As you inhale, left fingertips stretch forward, right leg lifts. Okay, start to bend your right knee. Reach around, grab that foot, and then when you get it, kick that foot into your hand. Start to spin your chest open to the left. So you're getting a little back bend, a little twist. Nice little stretch on that right hip flexor, quadricep. I'm feeling it in my knee a little bit. Even the lower back, good. Gracefully, inhale, lengthen back out. See if you can get an inch longer. Exhale, release down. Good, and then as we inhale, left leg lifts. Right fingertips reach forward. Start to bend that left knee. Reach back, grab the inner edge of that foot. Kick that foot into your hand. Start to twist. If you fall out, no big deal. Keep breathing. Smiling a little bit. Pressing that right shoulder head back. So getting that openness, that stretch across the heart and chest as well. Very nice. Good. Lengthen out on your inhale with grace. Release down. Walk your hands forward a couple of inches. Spread your fingers, press evenly. So much so that it feels a little awkward. This is gonna help to strengthen and support the wrist. And then start to drag those sit bones up towards the ceiling. Do it with a bend in your knees. That's gonna help you to find more length in your spine through the sides of your waist. Stay up on those left toes. Melt that right heel back. Ooh, gorgeous stretch through the back of the leg. Back up onto those tippy toes as you inhale, and then exhale, press that left heel towards the mat any amount. Breath smooth and steady. Inhale, tippy toes, knees bent, sit bones stretch. You might keep those knees bent as you start to melt the heels back any amount. Find your breath, gaze soft and easy between your feet. As you do that, you're gonna feel those ears line up with your biceps. Feel the back of the neck get long. Taking a few breaths here, the first downward dog of the day, maybe of the past few days or the past week, that's all good. And then start to walk your hands back to meet your feet. As you inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold in. Do that a couple more times. Inhaling, lengthening forward, Ardha Uttanasana. If your fingertips aren't on the floor, they're on your shins or your thighs. Those are good places to be, especially starting out. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold in. Good, inhale, press down into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. Stay here for a couple of breaths. Just peek down, make sure that your feet are hips distance apart. They might be a little closer. Your toes, second toe is pointing forward. Arms are really active, so I'm spreading my fingers even though you can't see them here, but feel this inner arm wrap towards the outer arm. You can take your arms as wide as you need to help bring those elbows to straighter. You're directing your tailbone down, so what happens here is we start to dump in the lower back, the booty points back, the chest puffs forward, tailbone down, sternum up, lots of length. And then as you exhale, hands come together at your heart, and we begin to flow and warm up the body. As you inhale, stretch out, take up space. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. As you exhale, you fold. Inhale, press down into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Continuing on here, inhaling, reaching. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhaling, folding. Inhale, press down, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Let's do a couple more of these. Ardha Surya Namaskaras, inhaling, reaching. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, press into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Here we go, one more. Adding on, inhaling, reaching up. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Keep looking forward, you're at the back of your mat. Start to walk your hands forward. So finding our downward facing dog, spreading fingers, seeing that arms or shoulders distance apart, and then let your neck lengthen. You're gazing between your feet, which are hips distance apart. Pull your belly in, stretch your sit bones up towards the ceiling, come onto your toes, and then start to pull forward nice and slow into your plank pose. Few breaths here. You might have to wiggle your toes back a little bit, especially if you're tall and you need a little more space. Arms really active, legs really active. Smiling, breathing. And then shift away forward on your toes. Let's all come to our knees for this first one. Lower chaturanga, so you're an inch, 2 inches, you're no further down than shoulders in line with elbows. Gaze forward. You're breathing. We're holding here. My arms are actually shaking, even though we are on our knees here. So this is very challenging. Don't dump in that lower back. Exhale, come onto your belly. Lengthen back through all 10 toes, warming up this back bend here. As you inhale, chest extends forward and up, coming into your cobra pose. Exhale, lower. Inhaling up. Exhale, lower down. Fingers are spreading, elbows are squeezing into the midline as you inhale. Exhale, lower. Bhujangasana, low cobra. Inhaling up. Holding here. So on your next inhale, lift that right leg up. Stretch it back. Place it down, rolling a little bit to the outer edge of the foot. Inhale, left leg lifts. Stretch it out. Place it down. And then you have the option to stay here. You pull your hands back a lot, wrists underneath your elbows. As you inhale, press into your feet, press into your hands, press your shoulder heads back if you're coming up into this upward dog. And if you're here and it doesn't feel good today, you lower back down to where you were. So we're always mixing and matching. Day to day, things are always shifting. That includes our bodies. They always feel a little different. So we want to be mindful about that. We want to pay attention to that. So we're back in downward dog on our exhale. Making tiny little adjustments here and then finding a place of stillness. Good. As you inhale, a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. Peek where you're going. At the end of your exhale, you're going to walk forward. You're going to step right then left. It's not an easy move. If you need to walk, that's fine. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, press down into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Putting that all together. Inhaling, reaching. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Keep looking forward, so attacking it different this time. Spread fingers, press palms. Left foot way back, then right foot. You can do full chaturanga this time. So as you exhale, shift forward on toes, lower. You can hover here or come all the way down. Inhaling into low cobra or upward dog. As you exhale, downward facing dog. Tapping into that rhythm of your breath, feeling the muscle firm to bone, especially in those arms, so that inner arm is wrapping towards your outer arm. As you inhale, come up to your tippy toes, little bend in your knees, look where you're going. End of your exhale, walk feet forward or step left, then right. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, press down into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. Take up space. Let this feel really good. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Inhaling, reaching. As you exhale, fold in. Inner thigh spiral back as you do so. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, right foot back, then left foot on the same exhale. You're taking your variation of chaturanga, whatever that may be. Inhale, low cobra or upward dog. As you exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, shift forward, shoulders over wrists, knee to nose. Inhaling back, three-legged dog. Couple more like that, so a little core work. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhaling, stretching back. Exhale, shift forward, knee to nose. Look forward, so this is where you're going. You're gonna see if you can sneak that right foot through between your hands. Lower onto your left knee. If you're really tight here, blocks underneath hands is a great place to be. So we're trying to stretch out this left hip flexor. So you might need to slide that knee back. And then you do want to make sure that your right knee is over your right ankle. And then we're just gonna turn this into a little flow here. So nice and easy as you inhale, pull back into your half split so you can keep a deep bend in that right knee. Exhale, on in. Inhaling back. Good, couple more. Exhale into this low lunge. Inhaling, pulling back. Half splits, exhale back in. And then inhale, pull back. Splits, so you might just adjust here a little bit. This is a really great place if you're tight in your hamstrings to have hands on blocks, the highway. If you're a little more flexible, you can walk your hands forward any amount. They're all good variations. You're drawing right hip back, left hip forward. Feeling that engagement in your lower belly. We have a little bit of that in all of our poses. Good, couple more breaths. Lots of length through the sides of your waist. And then start to upright yourself here. Make sure you're not on a tight rope. You might need to walk that right foot off to the right a little bit. Hands on that front thigh, direct tailbone down, sternum up, just as we do in our mountain pose. Arms reach out and up. Good, and then let's hook our thumbs today. So let's take the right thumb in front and then pull them apart. So little arm stretch, feel that widening across the backs of your shoulders. Keep directing your tailbone down. Keep pulling your lower belly in and up. Maybe bring your gaze up. Good, as you exhale, hands are gonna come to the mat, palms plant. Curl your left toes under. You can either step back to downward dog here. If you would like to, take a chaturanga vinyasa, build a little heat in your body. You are welcome to do so, moving nice and even with your breath. And then we all meet back in our downward dog. Let's take an inhale through the nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, ha. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, shoulders over wrist curl, knee into nose. Gaze slightly forward, inhaling, pulling back. Exhale, curl in knee to nose. Good, inhale, stretch back. And then exhale, shift forward, knee to nose. Peek where you're going. See if you can sneak that foot through. You might have to pick it up and move it. That's okay. Lower onto that right knee. Again, hands on blocks is wonderful here. You're just bringing the floor closer to you. Make sure that your left knee is over your left ankle, and then start to melt this right hip down towards the mat. So big hip flexor stretch. This is intense. Are you breathing? And then we're just gonna flow this. So as you inhale, you can keep a deep, deep bend in that front leg as you pull back to your half splits. Exhale forward. Inhale back. Good, exhale forward. Couple more, inhaling back. Ardha Hanumanasana. Exhaling forward. Good, inhaling back. Let's do one more. I might have done an extra one on this side. Good, the left side always gets neglected. We hold it less long. All right, so coming back to the splits, using your blocks for a little prop. If you are tight, and most of us are really tight in the hamstrings, so there is no shame in that. It will actually make the pose more accessible You'll be getting a great stretch. Before you know it, you'll be lowering your blocks. If you want a little more stretch, you're pointing those left toes up towards the ceiling. All right, so exhale, rock forward. Make sure you're not on a tightrope. If you need to walk that left foot off to the left a hair, do so. Hands up to that front thigh, direct tailbone down. Lengthen through the sides of the waist. Inhale, stretch arms up overhead. This time, left thumb hooks in front, so you're stretching them apart. Ooh, this is hard work. Breath is smooth and steady. Start to feel that lift of your sternum up towards the ceiling. Maybe gaze up. And then as we exhale, hands come to the mat, palms plant, curl your right toes under. Options here, you step back to chaturanga or plank pose, take a chaturanga. If you want to, you can also step back to your downward facing dog. So we can get really wrapped around the axle doing all of these chaturangas. I think that we're missing out somehow if we skip them. Some days we want more, some days we want less. That's okay, honor that. And then we take a few breaths in our downward dog. Making any little adjustments that we need to. Maybe just peek between your hands again. Make sure that you're spreading your fingers and then let your neck release. And then as you inhale, find a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. End of your exhale, you're gonna step right then left. You're gonna walk forward, maybe this time. Come up to your tippy toes, bend your knees, look where you're going. Spring forward, you can feel the weight shift into your hands as you do that, just momentarily. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, press down into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. Beautiful. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Take a couple of breaths here in your Tadasana. Then we're going to do a little standing hip flexor stretch, a little balance pose. So let's start rooting down into our left foot. Think tree pose here. Belly's pulling in and up, outer hip is squeezing in. Arches are engaged, so the four corners of your feet are pressing, and then start to bend your right knee. Then you're just going to take your hand, grab the outer edge of that foot. So pretty upright here, trying to be, just pull that foot in. Right heel is coming closer to your right buttocks. Let me give you the little side view there. So again, super intense, even though we've already stretched this out. So you're welcome to stay here. If you'd like to go a little deeper, start to extend your left fingertips up. You could just pretend that somebody is holding onto your wrist. Then we're gonna hinge forward at our waist. You might start to kick that right foot into that hand. So getting a little more stretch, opening the pose up. So as we did in our tabletop at the start of class, this requires a little more balance though. Good. Keep wrapping that right hip down. And then inhale. Come on up. Release that side. Be the side view of that on the other side. So rooting down into the right foot. That hip is squeezing into the midline. Just a little balance here. Start to bend the left knee. This can be hard. If this is really, really tight for you, hamstrings might be tight, quadriceps might be tight. You could always hook a strap around the foot. So that would look like so. Otherwise, you are grabbing the outer edge of the foot. And just standing nice and tall here, couple of breaths, shoulder heads press back. So we want to slump forward. Think tall ballerina. Begin to extend the right fingertips up. So you're getting long. This might be perfect. This might be plenty, in which case you stay here. Otherwise, you hinge forward at your waist. Keep wrapping those left hips down. Maybe start to kick that back foot into your hands. So a little dancer pose, Maharajasana. Helps to find something to look at in front of you that isn't moving. And then inhaling up. Releasing. Beautiful work. Let's flow. Take a couple rounds of our Surya Namaskara B. You are welcome to skip the chaturangas as we start to move through these. You are welcome to take them. Right, so we're at the top of our mat, standing nice and even in our mountain pose. This time as you inhale, knees bend, arms reach up, chair pose. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in to your Uttanasana. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. As you exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms, left foot back, then right, lower through your chaturanga, vinyasa, whatever that looks like, or you're skipping it and pulling back to downward dog. From downward dog, we inhale, lift our right leg. Exhale, step that foot through, spin into the back edge of your left foot. As you inhale, firm legs carry you up. Virabhadrasana 1, try to direct the left side of your waist forward. Exhaling, hands come to the mat. Chaturanga Vinyasa, you might keep that right leg lifted, lower. Place those toes down before you come into your back bend. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, use your belly to help step that foot through. Seal into the back edge of your right foot. That helps you to drive that right hip forward as you inhale, rise on up. Exhale, hands come to the mat. Step back, downward dog, or take your Chaturanga Vinyasa, maybe with that leg lifted. There's no benefit to doing that. Exhale, downward dog. It just makes it a little more challenging. And then you let everything slow down in your downward dog. In fact, let's all take a deep inhale here together. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. So that exhale through the mouth is always a nice thing to do if you start to feel really hot. It just helps to cool the body down. So you inhale a little, bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. Look where you're going. End of your exhale, step left then right. Walk forward or hop forward. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold. Inhale, press into your feet, knees bend. Arms reach up, Utkatasana. And then exhale, legs come to straight. Couple of breaths here. Let everything slow down. We're gonna do one more round of that Surya Namaskar B. All right, exhale, release hands by your side. Inhale, knees bend, arms reach up, chair pose. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in to your Uttanasana. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. As you exhale, bend your knees, plant your palms. Let's see, right foot back, then left, lower chaturanga, or you are in downward dog. Inhale, into your back bend. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through, spin into the back edge of your left foot. Inhale, rise on up, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step to downward dog, or take your Chaturanga Vinyasa, whatever that might look like. Inhale into your back bend. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. As you exhale, step that foot through, spin into the back edge of your right foot. Good inhale, rise on up. And then as we exhale, hands come to the mat. Chaturanga Vinyasa if you'd like, or you in your downward dog. You might even take a quick little child's pose. And let's all do that here. Just take a nice little break. We've been working hard. So lowering knees down, big toes together, knees apart. Melt your hips back, stretch your chest forward, resting your forehead on the mat. And kind of let your arms just relax here. Really consciously shift your breath, let it slow down. And finding a little twist, start to walk your arms off to the right. So laying your belly out over that right thigh. And just finding a little twist. And then walking your arms back to center. And off to the left. Wrapping opposite ribs down. So right ribs rolling towards that left thigh. Good, come back to center. And then let's inhale, rock up to our tabletop position. Walk your hands slightly forward. Shift shoulders over wrists. We're gonna lower on to our bellies here. All right. So a little more back bending. Let's come onto our forearms. So our Sphinx pose. So same general idea in our body that we had with our Bhujangasana or Cobra pose, except for that we're on our forearms. You want your shoulders over your elbows. You're rooting down into your palms, spreading your fingers, and then you can, it feels like you're gonna drag the mat back towards your heels. You get this openness across your heart and chest. You're directing your tailbone towards your heels. Taking a few breaths here. I'm gonna angle a little bit here. So pressing down into your forearms, we're gonna do another little hip flexor stretch. So if you know that you're a little more flexible, you can just keep your hands like this. Otherwise, you're gonna angle those right fingertips in, kind of 45 degrees, they come inward. You're gonna bend that left foot. You're gonna reach back, grab the outer edge of the foot, and then start to pull down. So my elbow is squeezing inward. If you can't grab the foot with your hand because you're really tight, you can place a strap over. And again, if you're more flexible, you kind of just have that right shoulder underneath, or right elbow underneath your shoulder. You might be able to press into that palm and lift up. This left hip bone is going to want to lift up off your mat, so keep directing it down. So in this configuration, things get a little more intense. Keep breathing. Just be good with where you're at. Good, we lower down. So just find that Sphinx again. As you root down into those forearms, press those shoulder heads back. It feels like you're gonna slide the mat back towards your heels. So you can keep your left arm like this if you know that you're a little more flexible. Otherwise, angle those fingertips inwards, kind of split the difference. It's like a 45-degree angle. Start to bend that right knee. Reach back, grab the outer edge of the foot, or hook a strap around it. And then I'm trying to keep that elbow or that shoulder head lifting, elbow squeezing in. But I'm also trying to root down into the right hip bone. It's popping up a little bit. If you wanted to press into your hand, that left hand, bring that arm to straight, you might go there and be like, oh, this is no good. You come out of it then. Always paying attention to your body. Couple more breaths. This is a doozy, I know. Good. Make your way out. Ooh, and let's just get into the shoulders a little bit. So lower down onto your forehead, interlace fingers at the small of your back. As you inhale, press palms together, drag knuckles towards heels. Feel that extension and lift. Good, exhale, lower down. Change the interlacing of your fingers. The opposite thumb and index come on top. Inhale, lengthen back. This is intense stuff, so notice where your brain is going. Can you listen to the breath instead and not attach to those thoughts, those ideas, those words in your head that might be saying, this sucks, I'm no good at it, when am I going to get more flexible? Let that all go. Exhale, lower down. Release your hands. You are going to come up into a low cobra or an upward facing dog. Couple breaths here. This is going to feel really nice. It might feel like you're getting a little more lengthening of that tailbone back, more stretch across your heart and chest. And we're going to roll over our toes. Ooh. And you might need to take a little bend in your knees here. So that was a lot of work in the lumbar. So just pedal that out. So we're using this downward dog as a nice counter pose to the back bend. We do that a lot in our yoga. We go one direction and then we move the other. This is why we walk out of our classes feeling so good. All right. So go ahead and lower down. If you do have a blanket, you might want to grab that, and then potentially a strap, and have your blocks handy as well. We're going to revisit that stretch that we did more towards the beginning of class, quadricep stretch, but we're going to add on. So there will be options along the way. If you do know that you have tender knees, blanket can be really good here just to give yourself a little padding. So when you've gathered those things, you come back to your downward facing dog. Let's take a deep inhale here together. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. And then as you inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through, lower onto this left knee. So that left knee underneath there is where you might want to put that blanket. So it would look like, so you can also double up your mat here. If you're on like carpet, firmer carpet, you're probably okay. Okay, so again, I'm gonna give you the little angle. So make sure you're not on a tight rope. So walk that right foot off to the right if you need to. Start to upright yourself. Tailbone is releasing down. You're lengthening through the sides of your waist. Let's inhale. Come back up to that crescent pose. And my toes are curled under here in the back leg. They can be curled under. You might have them extended. Either way is good. All right, so let's release our hands by our side. We're gonna start to bend this left knee. You're gonna grab the outer edge of that foot. So again, big stretch. Can be a little tender on the knee here. You're trying to pull this left heel closer to your left buttocks. If that isn't happening, strap here is really nice. Just getting set up is a little bit of work, but you can do the strap like so. Okay, so if you've got the foot, you're squeezing in, directing both shoulder heads back, maybe start to stretch those right fingertips up. And you might have to walk that right foot off to the right, definitely balance pose, maybe bring your gaze up. Okay, so finally, if you'd like, reach back with your right hand as well. Elbows squeeze, heart lifts, tailbone directs down. Beautiful. As you exhale, ooh, you try not to slingshot out of that. Easier said than done. And from here, we're gonna plant our hands down, and we're just gonna step back to downward facing dog. Again, you might wanna pedal back and forth between your feet just to release that. And then we take our second side. So if you have that blanket, you could move it to the other side of your mat. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, use your belly to step that foot through. Lower onto that right knee. So we've stretched out this right hip flexor a lot. Just upright yourself here. Inhale, find that low crescent pose. Couple of breaths, bring gaze up. And then we're gonna release our hands down. We're gonna start to bend this right knee. So you might need to slide that leg back. You don't wanna be right on the kneecap. Kind of more the top of that. Then bend the knee. Reach back with your right hand, grab the outer edge of the foot. The elbow wants to wing out. As that happens, notice how my shoulder head dumps. As I squeeze that elbow into the midline, just like our cobra pose, I get that lift, that opening across my heart and chest. Maybe extend those left fingertips up. Maybe bring your gaze up for a breath. Challenge your balance. And then if you would like, you reach back with your left hand. Press shoulder heads back with both hands pressing into that foot. You might be able to bring that heel a little closer to your buttocks. Breathing, smooth and steady. Good. We start to release here. So, reach up. And then as you exhale, your hands plant. Curl those right toes under, step back, downward dog. Pedal your feet back and forth. Good. So before we start to wind down, we're gonna just do a nice little twist to help release that back bending. As you inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through. So you have a couple of options here. If you wanna do just a low crescent, lower that left knee down onto the floor. Otherwise, we come into our full crescent pose. Direct that left hip bone forward so they're nice and even. Exhaling, palms come to heart center. Take an inhale here. This back leg is really strong and firm. And then as you exhale, start to hinge forward at your waist, twisting to the right. Hook your left elbow to the outside of that right thigh. Again, back knee can be down. As you vigorously press your palms towards heart center, you start to wrap those left ribs up towards the ceiling. Breathing is smooth and steady. If you're in deep here, a little more flexible, bring those left fingertips to the outside of your right foot, maybe on a block. Start to extend that right arm up. One variation is not better than the other. Just different places we can go, especially depending upon how our body is built, how long we've been doing yoga. You can always try it. If you fall out or it's not working, you go to a different place. Good, one more deep inhale. As you exhale, unwind. If you feel like you need another chaturanga, by all means do so. Otherwise, you're stepping back to downward dog. We're gonna take that twist to the second side. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through. So you can do low crescent twist here. If you want to challenge yourself, we're really open in this hip flexor, right hip flexor. Rise on up. Full crescent pose. Enjoy how good it feels. As you exhale, hands come to heart center. Already, you're pressing the palms in towards each other. Shoulder blades releasing down your back. Deep inhale, lengthen through the sides of your waist. As you exhale, hinge forward at your waist. Twist to the left. Keep pressing palms towards heart center. Use that back leg more than you think you can. That's gonna help with balance. Maybe beginning to direct your gaze up over that left shoulder. And then if you are in deep here, and you want to reach those right fingertips to the outside of the left foot, start to extend those left fingertips up. Breath smooth and steady. Mine is moving fast, so I'm trying to slow it down. These twists are really intense. Good, as you exhale, unwind. Nice. Final chaturanga here if you would like it. Otherwise, you're pulling back to your downward facing dog. I'm gonna do one more little twist squat variation here. So from your downward dog, find a little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. Stay here actually. At the end of your exhale, you can step right then left or hop through. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. As you inhale, knees bend, arms reach up, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, press your legs to straight. Hands come together at your heart. Take your feet wide, a little wider than hips distance apart. Toes point out. Good, hands come to heart center, direct tailbone down. Deep inhale. Exhale. Start to find your Malasana. And if your heels are up off the mat, roll up a blanket, slide it underneath. Squeeze those legs into the upper arms. Root down into your right palm. Again, just a nice little low to the earth twist. Maybe looking up over that left thumb. Good, deep inhale. Exhale, unwind. Take an inhale here. And then left hand plants, keep squeezing that left knee to the outer left arm. Extending right fingertips up, bringing your gaze up. As you exhale, come back to center, squeeze. Arms into legs, legs into arms. Feel that sternum. Lift up towards the ceiling. And then we're close to the earth. We're just gonna sit down. Grab a blanket to sit on if you know that it's hard for you to sit tall here. Otherwise, you're just coming into the classic Dandasana. We're gonna bend the right knee. So like a little seated tree pose here, sole of the right foot to the inside of the left thigh. Find some twist. You can take your strap around your feet, walk your hands down the strap any amount. If you don't have a strap, you're keeping length as you forward fold. If you're a little more flexible, start to extend arms up on the inhale, and then maybe you can grab your left wrist with your right hand. That gives you a little leverage to find the twist here in this pose. Let's take a deep inhale through the nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. And then consciously shifting your breath here, letting the inhale stretch out. Letting that exhale stretch out. You're still inhaling and exhaling through your nose. We're letting go of that ujjayi breath though as we start to wind down. Moving towards Shavasana. As you inhale, roll on up. Use your right hand to draw that right knee in. Another quick little twist here. So let's just hug today with that left arm. Reach your right fingertips behind you so you can still sit tall. Anchor down into those sit bones, maybe bringing your gaze out over that right shoulder. Make sure that your left toes are still active. They're pointing up towards the ceiling here. Good, exhale, start to come back to center. Extend right leg to straight. Bring the sole of your left foot to the inside of your right thigh. You're anchoring into your sit bones, finding a little twist so you're wrapping those left ribs towards that extended leg. Strap around the foot, or you keep very mindful as you walk your hands forward any amount. Again, if you're a little more flexible, you can reach that right wrist past the edge of that right foot, holding on with your left hand. You get a little leverage here to start to wrap those left ribs towards that right thigh. Janu Shirshasana, head to knee pose. Key into that sound of your breath again. So when we come into these intense, long-held stretches where we can feel all the things happening in our body, the thoughts start to kick up often. Counting the breath can help quiet all of that. Good, as you inhale, roll up. Use your left hand to help draw that leg in. Sitting tall and just hugging today. Simple little twists. Reach your left fingertips behind you. So you're on those fingertips, but those toe tips are pointing up towards the ceiling. Spine is nice and long. Just giving the organs of digestion and elimination. We're giving the spine a little twist out, which is so wonderful. You might be looking out over your left shoulder head. Good, deep inhale. Exhale, come back to center. One final little forward fold here. Paschimottanasana, both legs extend straight. Strap around your feet is great, or you inhale, reach your arms up. Hold on to that length, root into your sit bones as you start to hinge forward. Flexy people, block at the end of your feet, and then you can hold the outer edges of your block. Otherwise, the strap is wonderful. You might be pretty upright, but as long as you're feeling that intense stretch, and this is indeed an intense stretch on the back side of your body, so you should be feeling it, even if you're a little more flexible. Couple more good breaths here. Good, and then we're gonna inhale, roll on up. You're gonna make your way onto your back and just move all of your props out of the way so you have some space. As you come onto your back, you're gonna hug your knees into your chest. Give them a little squeeze out. Rock a little bit from side to side. And then we're gonna make our way into our final resting pose, Shavasana. So classic Shavasana, if that feels okay in your body. For many of us, that can introduce a little tension into the lower back, which is unpleasant, in which case you are bending your knees, feet wide, knees knocking towards each other. One final deep inhale here together. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. And then completely surrendering here, feeling your body, your bones get heavy in the earth. Soaking up these final quiet moments. Take a deeper inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, ha. And just begin to bring a little movement, gentle movement, wiggle fingers, toes, maybe stretch your arms up overhead. So bringing awareness back to your body. Staying soft and quiet as you're ready. You're going to roll to one side or the other, just finding the fetal position and pausing there a moment. As you feel ready, you'll use your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat. And you're going to check in here. You're going to notice how you feel. So hopefully sitting with a little more space in your spine, a greater sense of ease in your body, a sense of flexibility and strength. Notice how your breath has shifted. Notice how your headspace has shifted. Hopefully you're feeling a little quieter, calmer, more focused, a little joyful. Send yourself love and gratitude for showing up and working hard. Promise yourself that you're going to carry some of this feeling with you into the rest of the day ahead, the rest of the week ahead. Let's just bring our palms in a pile on top of our heart. We're sending ourselves love and gratitude. Beautiful work today. Thank you. Namaste.